This is Tom Holland, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, swinging into the city, ready to save the day, with a smile on his face. Now he's doing heroin. So first off, this movie was directed by the Russo brothers, who have a less than ideal filmography. But this movie is a lot different than all of their other movies in the best way possible. So Tom Holland begins his story in basically urban Africa, or what is known as Cleveland, Ohio. He lives a really crappy life where he just smokes weed with his loser friends and they're all unemployed and, you know, their cars are breaking down, the bank is just screwing them all over. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that Cherry, which is Tom Holland's character, his life sucks until he meets this one shorty in his college lecture class, and he's like, damn, I gotta give me a piece of that. So he talks to her, and he's like, yo. And then they get the hanky-panky on. This girl's name is Emily, and Emily looks like she would be in a Disney Channel movie. So after they've done a little bit of dancing, Cherry looks at Emily, and he's like, I love you, babe. You're my everything. Emily is what you call an avoidant attachment style, which is where if you get too close to somebody, you start to want to pull back because you feel like intimacy is going to trap you in something. And so when Cherry tells Emily that he loves her, Emily's just kind of like, I'm going to go to school in Canada. And Cherry's like pissed off. He's like, what do you mean you're going to go to school in Canada? What the flip is there in Canada? And like retaliation, Cherry decides to join the army. So Cherry gets sworn in and everything, and he's ready to pretty much get shipped off to boot camp. And then he comes home to his apartment and sees, who is it? Oh yeah, it's that shoddy Emily sitting on his bed, and she's like, you know, I actually do love you. I've decided I am going to stay here and not go to school in Canada after all. And then Cherry's like, I just joined the army. And Cherry gets shipped off to basic training. So basically, once Cherry gets to basic training, there's this whole cool sequence where it's like the aspect ratio is kind of like this. And he gets his hair cut, he gets his asshole looked at, and he becomes a medic. Like, he trains to become a medic. He trains with mannequins. He graduates from basic training, and he gets shipped off to freaking Afghanistan. He got shipped off to Iraq. Okay, so now Tom Holland is actually in war. And he realizes that it's not all mannequins that he's going to save. It's actually people, and they actually have guts that are hanging out of them. There's a scene where, like, this guy has his guts hanging out, and Cherry is like, what do I do? What do I do? And the other medic dude is like, put it in. You need to put his organs back in. Tom Holland, like, gets a wet cloth, and he's, like, pushing his organs in.
It's in. Oh my god, it's in.
So he gets back to, like, the base camp. He's like, bro, I just saw some crazy stuff out there. The sergeant is just like, well, you just got your cherry pop, boy. But guess what? It's not all horrible out there in Iraq, because Cherry actually has a friend. He met him in basic training. Guess what the first thing his friend said was? Yeah, he's totally making it through this movie. One day, Cherry and his squad go out on patrol. They're about to go through these mud flats, and Cherry is like, hey, Lieutenant, maybe we should not go through the mud flats, because I hear a lot of people get stuck out here. And the lieutenant's like, bro, why would you freaking question my authority, bro? We're going through the mud flats. And guess what? They get stuck. And then the lieutenant's like, go, somebody give me an excavator or a crane or something like that. Jimenez, which is Cherry's best friend, and a bunch of other guys that Cherry is kind of friends with, they load up into a Humvee, and they go back to base camp to request a thingamabopper to get them out of the mud. And as they're driving away, somebody on that Humvee must have been chewing 5 gum, because that thing just freaking exploded. Cherry, like, runs to the Humvee, and he's like, no, my friends! And he finally gets a visual on him, and thank goodness, dude, all of his friends are alive. They're a little bit burnt, but they're all fine. Cherry is extremely relieved that all of his friends survived that horrible Humvee explosion. Oh my gosh! Is that Tom Holland choking his chicken?
I'm jaking it. I'm jaking it.
I see how it is, pervert. Why would you want to look at that? It's kind of sad to see our cultural icon Tom Holland just going at it. Although, to be fair, it's not the worst thing he's done. So Tom Holland finally makes it back from war, and he meets up with his girlfriend, and everything's great. But now Cherry has a little bit of trouble sleeping. And so he does what any rational person would do, and he starts pumping himself full of heroin. And you get all these shots of him just geeked out on heroin. But the crappy thing is about heroin is that you need to get more heroin, otherwise you throw up. And the way to get more heroin is to buy it from this dude named Black. The distributor is this guy named Pills and Coke, who kind of just looks like a youth pastor. So Pills and Coke is supplying Cherry and now Emily with heroin. And then for some reason, Pills and Coke entrusts Cherry and his girlfriend with this safe that has a butt ton of heroin in it. And so they try to break into the safe, which they do, and then they hear a knock at the door. It's like, open up, it's the cops. But it's not the cops. It's freaking Pills and Coke. And Pills and Coke is like, where's the safe? And then he sees the safe and it's like, shoot, you guys owe me a lot of money or you're gonna get killed. So Tom Holland now becomes a bank robber. And what that means is that you threaten to tickle people in the bank unless they give you money. So he threatens to tickle a lot of people, just trying to make money so he can pay off Pills and Coke. So him and his girlfriend don't get freaking... But then something sad happens. Emily eats so much drugs that she falls asleep. And they have to take her to the hospital because she's not waking up. And so fast forward a couple months, Emily gets out of rehab. And he's like, Emily, I'm not the right guy for you. And she's like, no, I want to go freaking overdose again. That's like the turning point in the movie. It's like, they both resolve to become better people now. But unfortunately, Tom Holland still has one more bank run to make. Tom Holland actually enlists the help of Black. Yeah, the guy he owes money to. He has Black follow him to the bank. He goes in, he robs the bank, gets all the cash, gives it all to Black, and he's like, okay, see you later, alligator. And he walks in the middle of the street, and he's like... Everybody runs, and the cops, like, start coming after him. But he just sits down on the curb, and guess what this fool does? He freaking shoots up more... heroin. Flash forward now, he is in prison, but then he starts running the prison. Tom Holland kind of becomes the leader of the prison. In fact, they all start like calling him King Holland. They don't do that. That doesn't happen in the movie. But he grows a mustache, and he has some CGI aging done on him. And finally, he gets out of prison. He steps out of the gate, and he looks at Emily, and she's clean, and he's clean. They haven't done heroin. So that's Cherry. So this movie is very divisive. The few people who've watched it either hate it or they love it. I know you don't care what I think, but I happen to be one of the people who love it. Let me tell you why. First of all, the artistic style of this movie is beautiful. They experiment with a lot of different camera shots and a lot of different transitions and aspect ratios that just make it so fun to watch. Second of all, the performances are really good, mainly Tom Holland. Tom Holland carries this movie. Some of the cons of this movie are that its runtime is like 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is long for a story like this. I thought that the runtime was perfect for the amount of detail that they put in there. The amount of detail that was necessary to flush out these characters in this story. Some of the dialogue is not amazing. A big thing that people often complain about with this movie is the shift in tone. They're like, oh, the tone is not consistent. It goes from a buddy comedy to a war drama to a drug thing to a crime drama. I thought that the change in tone was necessary, as well as it added an interesting element to this movie. All in all, with all the bases covered, I would have to give Cherry a solid 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. It's a great watch with your friends. It's a great watch by yourself. Can't believe I'm saying this. If you want to, you can press the like and subscribe button, please. Peace out.